Welcome to Mr. Reddit Relationships. Relationship advice. I don't want to move in with my boyfriend of 9 months because I think he just wants to use me to split the bills. My boyfriend, 40 male, and I, 27 female, have been together 9 months. He brought up the idea of moving in together, and I told him it's something I have to think about. He received full custody of his 12-year-old son earlier this year and has been unable to upgrade to a 2-bedroom apartment. He has to stay in the same area for his son's school, which is way more expensive than other areas. So, by moving in with him, we would be splitting the cost 50-50. I would be unable to save any move and live paycheck to paycheck. Also, he works at a bar, and his hours are 3 to 11 p.m., so I would be watching/taking care of his son after school, while he's at work and when I'm off work. I'm in a very fortunate position right now, where I don't pay rent because I live with and help my grandmother. I want to keep saving money to buy a house. Within a year, I would have plenty of money saved for a nice down payment on a house, which is a dream of mine. After much consideration, I told him it's not a good idea because I want to buy a home instead of throwing money away on rent. His response was, "That benefits you, not me, and I'll never have any money." I honestly don't see how that's my problem, and I almost think he just wanted me to move in to help with the bills. Now for the top advice for this post. Looks like you analyzed the situation correctly right away. You should continue to look out for your future. Being able to purchase a house would be fantastic. And honestly, with that age difference, he has some maturity problems. Not almost. You think that and you'd be half right. He also wants you to be his full-time nanny and toy all combined in one. Unless you're cool with that level of compromise, I'd say you aren't looking for an answer, but confirmation from a bunch of strangers. He's 40 years old and you're not even 30. This whole relationship is a red flag. Leave his butt. He's using you. Run, girl. GTFO. Find a man who isn't going to treat you like the help for his crappy life and financial problems. His inability to support himself is his problem. His financial problems are his problems. Run. He's dating a younger woman because women his age don't want to deal with a dang man baby. He's garbage. Trying to push you to move in after 9 months, not to benefit you, but to make his life better for nobody but himself. You're not a babysitter or a bank. Okay, now time for story 2. My 28 male, girlfriend 27 female, won't stop speaking in Gungan, and I'm losing my mind. Together 5 years. My girlfriend and I met in college 8 years ago and started dating a little over 5 years ago. She's always been a huge Star Wars fan. She even has a Star Wars tattoo, not of Jar Jar, surprisingly. I like Star Wars enough, but I'm not a fanboy or anything, just a casual kind of fan. We dated long distance, and 2 years after we graduated, we moved in together. I'm military and she relocated to be with me. Things were great. She worked part-time and took care of the house and pets. Things changed about a year ago. She was mad about the ending of the last Star Wars movie that came out and started getting back into the prequels. She started quoting them sometimes, and it was kind of funny at first. Once Corona hit and we quarantined, it got more intense. She would quote Jar Jar a lot. It didn't matter to me because we weren't around anyone, and again, it was funny in small doses. I first realized it was a problem towards the end of spring. Her quoting Jar Jar got excessive. It was like she was trying to quote him in response to, everything. It was honestly a bit cringy. If she bumped into me, she'd say, "Excuse me," or if she dropped something, she'd go, "Misa clumsy." If we left the house at all, she'd loudly yell, "So good being home," when we walked inside. One time when we were cuddling and stuff, she whispered in my ear in a Jar Jar voice, "Oh, moi, I love you." Instantly killed the mood. I regret not saying something then, but I figured she would stop eventually. I was wrong. In June, they lifted some restrictions, and we started doing more stuff. I was promoted and had a small ceremony. My boss, a pretty high-up officer, was there, and after the ceremony, I introduced them. She said to him, "You a bombad general?" He chuckled awkwardly and left the conversation. I was so mad at her. We talked and she said she would tone it down. She did for a couple weeks and didn't do the Jar Jar talk as much. We've talked about getting married, and I had been wanting to propose for a while, before the Gungan speak started, but with Corona it kinda ruined my plans. July came and I figured I should stop delaying and decided I would do it. We went for a hike together and I started my speech about how I loved her, and she made me happy, and everything, and asked her what she would think about us taking the next step. She just said okie day. I stopped the proposal there. I feel bad because I blew up at her a little. But goddamn, she already ruined so many moments with her stupid Gungan talk. You would think after that fight she might finally stop, but she didn't. Things were more or less normal for a few months. I just didn't try to bring her around anymore. Then I FaceTimed with my mom and brother a few days ago, and I think it was the final straw. My mom asked if we were planning on coming home for Christmas, and she literally said to my mother, "'Tis demanded by the gods it is." No one found it funny, but she was laughing hysterically. I ended the call soon after that and texted our group chat to apologize. I told her she needed to cut it out once and for all. She said it was just a part of who she was and is not a big deal. There are so many other examples I can't even list here, and these are just the biggest ones. She's always saying Misa and Yusa about everything and sending Jar Jar memes, and just generally being so annoying with her Gungan worship. So what should I do? I truly love her and she's great in a lot of ways, but I don't think I can take it anymore. How do I get her to stop? Now for the top advice for this post. You really just need to have an open and honest conversation with her where you lay it all out, but are also willing to listen. Tell her how her Gungan speak has affected you professionally, socially, specifically with family, and romantically. Be honest about how you were set to propose, but the Gungan speak immediately made you stop. How when you were cuddling and getting romantic, the Gungan speak immediately killed the mood. She needs specific examples of what she's done and the outcome. Let her know that you do think it's a big deal. Obviously, it's a big enough deal to stop a planned proposal, so it needs to be addressed directly. I'm a fan of awful jokes myself. I always sing stupid songs for my dog and my girlfriend rolls her eyes, but loves how our dogs react, so she's okay with it. But I'd never behave this way in front of my mother-in-law, or my girlfriend's boss. That's a line that shouldn't be crossed. Do you have a place to sleep for some days? Give her some days. If she isn't willing to behave in a way that you can tolerate, you're done. But it isn't something like a crack addiction, so she may be able to let it go. Maybe you can find a possibility to have a time of the week where she can speak like a Gungan and acts normal the rest of the week. As long as you have feelings for her, you might be able to find a way. May the force be with you. Okay, now for story 3. Am I, male 23, being toxic if I feel uncomfortable when my girlfriend, female 23, receives treats from other men? Yesterday, when we had a conversation about the sugar daddy, sugar baby relationship trend that's going on social networks, my girlfriend casually mentioned that her coworkers often jokes around, calling another guy, software architect, single in his 30s, in the office her sugar daddy. She thinks they're probably joking, because the guy is old but still single. Later, when we advanced with the conversation, I asked her if he ever actually offered her for a treat. This is what I've been wondering myself, since she eats out every lunch with the team, yet her savings doesn't go down as much. After some hesitation, she told me that the guy did give her a treat multiple times, and she accepted it without much consideration, since she thought he was giving the treat to everyone. When I asked her why I never heard about this guy before, she again hesitated, until she finally admitted that this is the software architect guy that she used to talk about admirably. Having had these information, I showed her these were the reason the team kept calling the guy her sugar daddy. Her reply, in guilt, was that she never considered about such connection, because she was unthoughtful. She promised me she's not even thought of him as a friend, let alone having feelings for him. I'm not sure how I should address this issue really. I told her how extremely uncomfortable I feel when she accepts treats like that, despite all my effort to be transparent to her and mentally protect her from insecurity. I told everyone my girlfriend is working in blah 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 on the first day of my job. I put my effort into clicking not interested on all the babes photos randomly showing up on my Instagram discovery. I explicitly replied to my ex to not behave and be normal friend when I started dating my girlfriend. I'm a guy with insecurity and have had history messing up relationship because of it. I'm dedicated to fixing this issue on my own, but I'm super worried that I'll get cheated, which I've also had experience about. I'm so conflicted right now. Am I being too toxic with my insecurity and slowly ruining our relationship? Or is this really a warning sign I should be concerned about? Now for the top advice for this post. I think you did address it by telling her how uncomfortable you were. I don't think it's toxic of you to clearly state you feel disrespected and why, especially considering when you've done your part to make her feel extremely secure. You could further by suggesting an action step, such as, I'd prefer you ask this man to back off a bit around the office. Paying for your lunch is fine, but the sugar daddy joke is where I draw the line. As a woman, it sounds to me like she was enjoying the free stuff and probably talking about him admirably because he was a backup option to her at some point or another. I would feel confused if someone described that to me and then claimed it was nothing too. You'll have to make peace with it to some extent. He's not going to vanish into thin air, and the likelihood of him stopping without her saying anything is low. It sounds like you all need to talk. Don't rush that. It might be multiple conversations over some time. But it sounds like if you're both dedicated that you could move forward from this with a better understanding of one another. How long have you been together? Thanks for the thoughts. I think I'd still freak out if they went as a group, and the guy only offered to pay for her. Isn't that just straight up flirting? Also, am I asking too much that she doesn't have a backup? I guess I'm in the state where I can't draw a line myself, because of conflicting between not wanting to be toxic and not wanting to be disrespectful. Should I explicitly tell her I've never thought of a backup option ever since dating with her? Although I've had so much opportunity. It's sad that real dedication in relationship result in you losing your value and expose your vulnerability. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment your thoughts below.